we decided to do the Brunswick Title Max location on Altama Avenue. Here is our simple presentation outline. So the goal of our presentation is to show you how to get a title loan for cash with a company like Title Max. So our second point is the description of the transaction. So our ideal is to borrow the $10,000 in exchange for the value of the car that we are going to pledge and credit. And then the major terms of our loan are the collateral, interest rate and fees, repayment terms, repossession and defaults, and then the disclosure and acknowledgements. So this is a continuation of the presentation outline. So our fourth point in the PowerPoint presentation is to show the amount and timing of all fees and payments that should be associated with a transaction. Our fifth point is to summarize the benefits of the transaction. And then the sixth point is the regulators that are responsible or kind of govern the title pawn area. This slide is just a short description of the transaction that kind of happens when you go and get a vehicle title pawn. $10,000 is the cash loan that you would be seeking from this sort of endeavor, and then you have to back it up with a collateral. And then for our collateral for this project, we chose the 2018 Toyota Camry title, and then its worth is the $22,900. So this slide is a summary of the major terms of the transaction, which is kind of like everything summarized into one, just like an overstatement, I suppose. So starting with the length of the transaction is going to be 2 months. It's October 1st to September 30th. Usually it'll be 1 month for a title loan, but you can also get extended. The fees and charges are going to be described later on in about a slide or two, so it's better to look there for those. The collateral is the title to the 2018 Toyota Camry, and the value of that is $22,900. So the jurisdiction of the pawn and title, like title pawns, is where this kind of gets a little interesting. So in Georgia, it's held at a local municipal level. And if you would want to file legal action, you would have to go to the magistrate court of whatever county the agreement was made in. Number 5 is the defaults and penalties section. So if you default on your title loan in Georgia, the lender is within their rights to access the warrant through said municipal court and then repossess the collateral, which in our case is the Camry. The amount and timing of fees and charges. So our starting date is going to be August 1st, and usually title pawn loans will last for a month or so, but they can be extended for any number of months if you so choose. But we chose to end our transaction on the 30th of September. So for our fees and charges, we chose to do a $10,000 amount for the pawn loan. And then on September 1st and September 30th, we have the monthly interest charges, which are both $2,500 a piece. And it brings our total to $15,000 just for a total of the 2 months. These 2 slides are about the benefits of transactions with like a title pawn broker. So our loan is able to be obtained in 1 day. Is pretty quick turnaround time when it comes to obtaining a loan. And our minimal documentation is the vehicle title, the government issued ID, which is driver's license, and proof of residence, which could be like your lease or utility bill. And then you would also need a proof of income. So this is the second slide of the benefits of transactions with title pawn. Our D point is that it is a convenient way to get a loan. There's no credit check. The application process is really quick, whether you do it online or in person. The borrower gets to keep possession of the vehicle. There are like multiple branch locations in Georgia, so you have a lot of options as far as getting quick money. And that kind of segues into E. Other benefits is that you can have a fast solution for like emergency expenses that you might have. Other benefits are like a flexible repayment schedule, and then you can opt to roll it over to the next month. And then you can also view your loan and stuff like that online. So you will have access to it and always be able to see what's going on your account. This slide is about the regulators that are like regulating Title Pond on the federal, state, and local level. So on the federal level, we have the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Federal Trade Commission. And then on the state level, we don't actually have any state regulators in Georgia, which is an interesting choice. For local regulation, we would have the city of Brunswick or whatever city municipality that this agreement is happening in. So as far as our federal regulators go, we have the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Federal Trade Commission. So the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau requires that Title Max would stop unlawful title lending practices, and the FTC requires that Title Max protect consumer data. So there are actually no state regulations for Title Max, and Title Max is not regulated by state regulators in the state of Georgia. I'm unsure about other states, but in the state of Georgia, there is no state regulation whatsoever. So it sort of allows them to bypass interest rate caps and other state regulations that are usually in place for these sorts of things. And then finally, we have our local regulators. So our local regulator would be the City of Brunswick Occupation Business License Office. And this regulator says that Title Max must have a valid business license and occupation tax certificate to operate within the City of Brunswick. So our personal insights for this project were kind of that, there's not a lot of regulations via the state Title Ponds or Title Max specifically has. Title Max and other lenders will have control to charge very high amounts in annual percentage rates, which kind of leads us into the fact that title loans are also very risky ways of generating cash for average people. The interest rates are really high because of how short term the loans are. About 1 in 5 people actually do have their vehicle repossessed for non-payment, and they usually will have to renew them because they can't pay it back in just the single payment, like the single month cycle. So it leads to like long-term debt cycles and very upsetting consequences for average people.